Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out. So, truth be told, when I went into my second semester of my freshman year at Pomona College, I had absolutely no intention of joining a mariachi. I had, let alone starting one. Don't get me wrong, I'm Mexican. My parents are Mexican immigrants. I grew up here in LA, immersed in the culture. I love the music. My mom was a dancer. But other than the fact that I sang well enough to not get kicked out of my high school choir, I didn't consider myself a musician in any sense. So when my friend Maciel called me up and asked me to help her secure permission and funding to establish what would later become El Mariachi Serrano de Claremont at the Claremont Colleges, I agreed to help her out only because I was active in a number of other student groups and I knew how to get it done. Again, not because I had any intention of joining the group myself. So when she called me and told me that the group had gotten the green light and that the rehearsal was going to be the next day, I was like, that's fantastic. Have fun. And she was like, you're coming, right? And I was like, no, why would I? What for? She's like, rehearsal. We need a guitar and I know that you have one. And I mean, that was true. At the time I had a guitar and I was teaching myself to play, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what a chord was, let alone that there were like hundreds of them that I would have to learn. And I asked her, like, why me, though? Like, I mean, it's Pomona College. This is the type of place where you can't throw a Frisbee on the quad on a Sunday and not hit some guy who's covering a Jack Johnson song on a beat-up acoustic guitar that's missing a couple strings. Like, you don't need me. And she said, because you know the music. And it'll be easier to teach you to play the guitar than it will be to teach some random guitar player to play mariachi. And she had me there. I mean, she's right. So I did it. I went to rehearsal the next day and I never looked back. Nowadays, I always find it a little surprising and amusing when people react with like that wide-eyed astonishment when they discover that I play in a mariachi. I'm not sure why it's so surprising. Maybe it's the fact that the average American doesn't come into contact with a performer of classic Mexican music very often. Maybe it's the fact that I'm relatively young and I don't conjure the image of, you know, old guys who are well past their prime, sitting around, getting drunk, and singing very loudly off key. Also, it could be the fact that I'm a woman, again, not necessarily in line with what mariachi, that word, conjures for people. And so while I can understand why some people are surprised to discover this little tidbit about me, I'm always annoyed by the follow-up question, which is why? As in, why do you play in a mariachi? Just because your parents are from Mexico? Or why don't you play in an orchestra or some such respectable group? Why do you guys wear those costumes? Or why don't you play something in English for a change? And the answer to all of these questions is simple. It's because I love it. But truth be told, that answer is a total cop-out. It is so much more than that. I play mariachi music because I'm addicted to the sharp thrill that races up my spine, down my arm, and into my hand as I slap and strum the strings of my vihuela. I play mariachi music because I love how the deep thrum of the guitarrón resonates through my body and makes my heartbeat stutter and restart so that my heartbeat and the downbeat are pounding as one. I play mariachi music because in my ears, the playful dance of octaves that pours out of a harp sound like the perfectly matched voices of two lovers whose fates were intertwined at birth. I play mariachi music because I can feel the stretch and pull of the violins as they bend individual notes into the melodies that I first heard long ago, sung by my father's voice through the walls of my mother's room. And I play mariachi music because I can't help but heed the commanding blasts of the trumpets when they call for me to stand up straight and hold my head high as I humbly channel the sound of my parents' native Mexico. I play in a mariachi because an orchestra conductor would never have me. I can't read music. And while my musical illiteracy will forever bar me from being in a respectable group and playing any form of classical music, mariachi is an oral tradition, and it spans over a century. And throughout all this time, the music was handed down from generation to generation by incredible musicians who learned hundreds of technically demanding pieces by ear. I study under mariachi instructors because they dismiss my ignorance as passion, and they have eagerly guided me in learning to wield my instrument with the ferocity necessary to tackle sones and huapangos that classically trained musicians would have a hard time pulling off. Mariachis don't wear costumes, we wear trajes. Yes, I wear my traje because I love hearing the tinkling of the botonadura that adorns the length of my skirt from hip to ankle. And yes, I wear my traje because I love the intricate embroidery that traces pre-Columbian patterns across the black leather of my belt. But wearing that traje is a privilege that I take seriously because the weight of that charro jacket on my shoulders is also the weight of over 100 years of Mexican tradition, and donning it requires that I embody that legacy. So I wear my traje because that stiff black cloth makes me stand up straighter and be bolder and more badass than any other article of clothing that I've ever owned. I spent more on that thing than I did on my prom dress, just BT dubs. While I do know how to play some stuff in English, I play mariachi music in Spanish because I've never been in love. Okay, so maybe I'm a little bit biased when I say that tales of love and loss sound better in Spanish because I'm a native speaker, but I seriously believe that that's the truth. I play rancheras like Me equivoqué contigo and Pa que sientas lo que siento because they make me want to run out and hand my heart over to anyone willing to shatter it just so that I can sing those songs with that same raw emotion that can only be expressed by somebody who suffered that ultimate betrayal. And then I play boleros like La Gloria Eres Tú, Bésame Mucho, Noche No Te Vayas, because they make me believe that the handsome charro singing it might actually be in love with me. And I've played these serenatas, these love songs, and have literally watched people fall in love to nothing more than the sound of a violin, a guitarrón, and a guitar. And I play these serenatas with my whole heart because I, perhaps naively, but fully expect the love of my life to show up outside my bedroom window in the middle of the night to serenade me because I believe in karma. So I play classics like El Son de la Negra because the crowd always sings along. Even you guys probably know this one. And the exhilaration of hearing hundreds of voices singing those words is a thrill beyond any that most people can imagine. I play mariachi music because every gig is as different and dynamic as the crowd that it's for. Because gritos and whistles are not only permitted, they're expected. And because we're forbidden to leave the stage until people stop chanting, otra, 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 which means another, encore, encore. I play mariachi music because the right song can bring even the manliest of Mexican machos to tears, or can make anyone, even my graceless, uncoordinated, two left feet possessing self, want to dance. I play mariachi music because it makes my heart beat stronger. I play mariachi music because it's a paradox. It's a paradox because it makes me feel older and younger at the same time. And older because my favorite songs are generally only requested by people who are well into their 60s and 70s. And younger because those same songs are the soundtrack to my earliest childhood memories. So I play mariachi music because I'm an American-born Mexican who is too stubborn to let go of cultural traditions that set me apart in a society that's been badgering me to assimilate since the day I was born. So yes, I am a mariachera. I'm a female mariachi musician because I love it. Why is that so surprising?